Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Alumni Uni Program Series organized by the Alma Mater alumni of the University of Szeged since 2017. 4 events have been organized yearly, and for the first time, this will be in English. This is the 18th event, actually. This afternoon, we are talking about what is life like in Szeged for international students. And we have 2 great guests for tonight, or for this afternoon. Let me introduce our 2 guests. Devanshi Das from India, who is currently a second-year medical student studying in Szeged, and Dr. Lorenzo Marmiroli, senior assistant professor from Italy. He works at the Italian Language and Literature Department, and he lives in Hungary by now. So as for me, my name is Anett Árvai. I'm a linguist and a cultural historian, and I'm the director of Hungarian Studies, where foreign students study Hungarian as a foreign language, and they can learn interesting things about Hungarian culture, from films to literature, cultural geography in English. I'm grateful for this opportunity to talk to our guest this afternoon, since moving abroad opens a new chapter in everybody's life. But I know, since I also lived abroad for a year, that there are ups and downs and challenges, and I hope that this conversation will help everybody and will give ideas how to cope with potential problems, and also might inspire you where to go, what to do, and how to make friends. So one more important piece of information, that after our discussion there will be a session, a question-answer session. So I would like to encourage everybody to prepare questions. Even if you have some ideas or comments while we are talking, then just take some notes and feel free to ask and propose those questions after our conversation. So thank you for being here, thank you for coming, and let's get started. So first of all, I'd like to ask Dash to introduce herself and tell important and interesting things.
Okay, I'm originally from New Delhi, India, and I went to Michigan State University when I was 18 for my bachelor's in neuroscience, and I did a minor in women and gender studies. Then I went on to work at a hospital for a couple of years, during which COVID happened, and it kind of solidified my aim to become a doctor. But before pursuing that, I've had the opportunity to travel a lot, and I got to know a lot about multiple healthcare systems around the world. And I kind of noticed that the one thing that a lot of doctors, as amazing as they are, they lack some communication skills, especially when it came to public health during COVID. So with the help of my mentors at Oak Street Health, I decided to pursue a master in public health before pursuing my MD. And so I got my master in public health from Thomas Jefferson University in Philadelphia. And there, again, I was very lucky to have a great mentor who encouraged me to pursue medicine. And she told me that a lot of her students do their MD in Europe. And so I looked up countries in Europe. There were so many options, but I stumbled upon Szeged. It looked amazing. It looked very similar. The town, the city looked very similar to what I had done at Michigan. And I kind of felt like, yeah, it's a great university. It's so renowned for its medicine program. So I decided to apply, and I got accepted. Unfortunately, due to COVID, there was a big backlog of paperwork. So I actually ended up coming here in October. So my 6th week of my program, I came here, and it was the week where we had all our MTOs, our upper limb dissection MTO, Hungarian oral exam, and everything. But I was very lucky. I had some of the amazing professors. I had a really good group members who were very supportive throughout my time here, and they helped me out, they helped me adjust. And it was very overwhelming at first because I was just right in the middle of the semester, but it was great. It was a great journey, and I'm so lucky to have such wonderful friends here in Szeged. So, yeah.
Thank you. Now, Lorenzo, can you tell me how did you get here and ended up here?
Okay, hello everybody. Probably my personal story or history is different than Daesh one, because well, my background is totally different. I'm from Italy, so from Europe, so not so far away from here. And the biggest difference between me and her is that when I came to Szeged, when I came to Hungary, I already spoke the language of the place, because I have this superpower that you all can get. I speak Hungarian, and I read and learn so on. Because in Italy, I majored in modern languages and literature already in 2010, and I studied Hungarian, Russian, and some German as well. BA, MA, and even a PhD. A part of my PhD has a Hungarian research topic. I made a PhD about European history. So to answer to our beginning question, it was for me during and after my studies. It was for me natural, since I studied the Hungarian language and culture. It was natural and logical to come to Hungary, both for studies and also for work, for job that I found. So the first time I was in Hungary itself, I was in mythical summer 2006, when first time I arrived to Hungary in Debrecen Summer University, where we had the chance to attend to some summer classes of Hungarian, besides my regular formation in Rome, in Italy. And should I speak in detail? No? Just, okay. Go ahead. And so this was my first time, but in Hungary. But I had a longer period in 2008. I came to Szeged first as an exchange student for a semester. So for a longer period, I remember that was my very first longer experience abroad alone. So for a semester, not for a month or just for holiday for a few days. And that was my first encounter, my first meeting with this city in 2008 as a student. Yeah, we had great fun. I had great fun back in the days. Then I came back to Italy. I continued to my studies. I did the master in the degree. During the master, I spent 1 year of the 2 in Germany, on the other hand, with Erasmus. I was here not through Erasmus, but through an Hungarian exchange program for students of Hungarian language and literature abroad. So it's an extra possibility we had. And after the end of master, I started my PhD, and the 3rd year of PhD I spent in Budapest for research. And so when I was there studying for the research, so to say, people of ELTE University, of the Italian department, got to know me, and I had the chance of being offered a job as a language teacher, substitute language teacher, because the language teacher lady went to maternity, so I had 1 year for me. That was the beginning of my work and career work in Hungary. So meaning, from being a student, I also started to work in ELTE, and by chance, while I was working in ELTE, I met again those who were my professors back in 2008, knew me as a student, and got to know me now as a teacher, as a language teacher, and they offered me a job here in Szeged as a language teacher. So I came right after the ELTE experience to Szeged in a row. Was very lucky, I must say. And so that's it. And it is already in the end, is already my 8th year in Szeged going on, 9th in Hungary, in a row, so to say, and 8 in Szeged. While being here for the first 5 years, I was a language teacher in the Italian department of Szeged University, and a couple of years ago I was good and lucky enough. They wanted me from the department to make some career, so I got promoted, so to say, as a regular teacher, local teacher, and I'm enjoying this experience here. What was for me different and special is that I already knew the city from my previous experience in 2008. I already knew most of my colleagues. I already had some acquaintance, some friends from the place in Szeged, and I also spoke Hungarian language. So to me, I was particularly happy of being given the chance to come back to this city that was represented so much for me in 2008, to come here to work, not just as a student, not just for a semester or two, but for a full-time worker. Yeah, and I'm very happy of it. I do believe personally, knowing a little Hungarian, I do really believe that after Budapest, Szeged is the nicest city in Hungary. I mean, it has no. Maybe Pécs is also nice as well, I must recognize, but I'm very happy of living and working here. Yes.
Thank you. So actually you got the recipe. So come at least 3 times, spend longer and longer period of time here, get a PhD, work hard, get promoted. Okay, so that's your plan, right? Okay, I just would like to go back to the beginning, because you mentioned actually 3 types of educational programs. You participated first of all in a shorter period, like was it an Erasmus scholarship or just a study abroad?
It was the first was the summer school.
The summer school, right?
1 month from the ex-Balasi.
Yeah, the Debrecen summer school.
Debrecen summer school, yes.
So an appetizer. And then came your full semester program.
Yes, in Szeged.
And then came that again during your PhD, right?
Another year in Budapest.
Another year.
So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then, just thinking back to your first arrival, what challenges did you have to face? So what did you find interesting? I know it's very hard to think back because you became almost like a Szeged citizen, but going back to Debrecen, or the first time coming here to Szeged, what was challenging for you?
I was lucky enough also for my studies to find people around me, teachers and friends, and who helped me a lot in general. I also remember that actually first time I came to Hungary, I came together with all my classmates, so it was a bunch of 5-6 Italians learning Hungarian. We had great fun. That summer, I assure you, in Debrecen 2006, one of my best summers in life. In general, so I was not alone. It was a nice group. We also, even with my classmates, so to say, we got to know each other being here, being abroad, because in Italy during the classes you don't really get to know. There are always people in a rush and everybody has his own interests. While being abroad together in a group was really a new experience. I mean, I knew my classmates of Rome in Debrecen. I got to know them, so to say. Then I had the double experience because I was here as a student, but also as a worker now. So, which has much more bureaucracy and documents to be done. Tájkártya, okay. So all the bureaucratical part, most of all, it took place during my job experience, my working experience here in Hungary. And I must also say, compared to what I could see from my limited point of view, also Hungary much changed in general from 2006 to now. It's, I mean, when I remember, I had the feeling like when I was in Budapest before going to Debrecen in 2006, Budapest was still in 2006 a post-90s city, so way more different than what has become now with so much renovated areas and different people around and more foreigners. Back in the days, even though it was not in the deep 90s, like the first who came after the end of communism, first foreigners, but still I had a glimpse of what was before present times in Hungary. So apart from a different reality around me, a different way, I didn't totally, I never felt I always felt at ease. So here, never had special problems.
I would say lucky you. So we had very many students who struggled and had to face different problems like alienation. So then, from your words, it seems to me that you always found your company. Maybe you are an open person, and maybe when you came as an Erasmus student for a semester, did you also have some other fellow students coming from Italy, or? Okay, so you always had this kind of...
Yeah, in the first attempts were also always helped by one of my classmates. We came here for a semester in 2008. We rented a flat together with other people that we enrolled here. So yeah, it was a step-by-step approaching Hungary and Hungarian culture. While in Budapest, I was already on my own after the master.
Yeah, but by that time you already knew a lot about Hungary.
Yeah, and I was also Erasmus before that in Germany. So after all this coming to Budapest, after experience here and Erasmus experience in general was not. I did on my own. Yes, that part.
Wow. So you both actually experienced this foreign living abroad, not only in Hungary, but in other countries as well. So you mentioned Germany and you mentioned the United States. So it caught my attention that you said when you looked at Szeged, it felt like a little bit like, or reminded you of Michigan. Yeah. So United States, that was surprising to hear. So what do you mean by that? Or what were similar?
So I come from a very big city, New Delhi. It's huge, bigger than Budapest. And so when I first went, to be precise, I went to East Lansing in Michigan, Michigan State. And it's a small city, it's a small campus college town like Szeged. And so it kind of really helps me focus down on my studies, find a good support system of friends. And so I had a really good, great experience during my bachelor's. So when I stumbled upon Szeged, I had the same feeling that this is going to be similar, and it did turn out to be really great. So yeah, that's why I think it's the small for me, small college town experience that I always wanted. So there are definitely similarities, yeah. Mm-hmm. And even with the people, everyone was so welcoming. And all the friends that I met here, back there, same. Everyone was very supportive. I'm very lucky with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That sounds great. So you haven't ever felt confused because of cultural differences here in Szeged?
I would say I felt confused when they talk to me in Hungarian and I don't know what they're saying. So I either get the Google Translate out or I try to speak and communicate in my broken Hungarian. But to think back, no, I think everyone, sometimes they get a little grumpy at grocery stores when I'm trying to find something. But otherwise they've been pretty good to me so far. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
That's wonderful. Let's just stay with the language for a while. So you mentioned that you had that magic trick, or what was the word used for that?
Special power.
Superpower. Okay, superpower. Hungarian, speaking
yes,
Hungarian.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you had this great advantage since you already spoke Hungarian even the first time when you arrived, right? Just so to say, but that was summer school, yeah. But for the semester you came, you were kind of fluent. That's wonderful. But when you came, I suppose you did not speak any Hungarian. No. So then how did you start learning the language?
So I was very lucky. I had a great teacher and she knew that I was 6 weeks behind already in my schedule with Hungarian. So she definitely, I took extra time with her to learn the language and everything. But it also helped that I was in a classroom full of international students who were going through the same thing as me. and so they definitely, everyone helped me catch up. And our Hungarian teacher, she also kind of eased us into telling us about the lifestyle here, the culture, which again, I think definitely helped like smoothen my transition, especially considering how I was like thrown in the middle of the semester. So I think I just tried to pick up the languages as much as I could, and I like learning languages. It just happens to be that I like learning languages, so I was very excited to learn Hungarian.
That's wonderful. So, so it means that your teacher actually, she did not only teach you or taught you language, but also culture. So she talked about, you mentioned some issues about Hungarian.
Yeah, so
culture.
when I came here first, like I asked her, like, is there like some basic words that I need to say at the immigration office or something? So she helped me with those words and everything. So yeah, and like I remember it took me the longest time to find still water. I don't like sparkling water. So I asked her, like, how do I ask for like still water? And she was like, just look for, you know, Szénchef mentes. So like I was like, okay, sure, okay.
Yeah. So the most important vocabulary,
most
right?
important vocabulary,
At
for
the start.
sure.
And did you dare to use Hungarian language? Because we very often see that students use Hungarian only in the classroom, and once they step out of the classroom, they switch back to English. So did you?
No, I mean, I'm not going to say that we talk in Hungarian the entire time, but because considering we all study medicine, I think our most common answer is nem tudom. Like, I don't know what's happening, so nem tudom, or like, I think little words like bocsánat, köszönöm, köszi, or sajnos is the one that I learned this week, unfortunately. We try to instill these little words in our daily lifestyle, and that definitely helps. So yeah, it helps you pick up the language, it makes you motivated to learn it, it makes the language more interesting as well. So talking to your peers in the similar language, yes, it helps.
Thank you. Lorenzo, you said you studied Hungarian as a foreign language at your university as a kind of a major. Was the Hungarian language you could hear in the street very different from the one you were experiencing in the classroom?
Yes, totally. Also, because we had a full program, so we also read Hungarian literature, watched Hungarian movies. I remember we watched this Moskva tér, famous, good, also Hungarian movie. I recommend everybody in general. It was very different it was a different situation. But I'm used to find a solution, and we hardly had some. I hardly had some misunderstandings, or because also Hungarians, when they know that you speak Hungarian, they are totally in awe of you, and they pardon every mistake you can make. Even they're all very happy when something like this happens. Because it's also very uncommon, in general quite uncommon. But from my personal point of view, what I could say about I very much love Hungarian language. It is I also speak many and know many languages, several at least, and Hungarian is always my szívem csücske, my
Of your heart.
Yeah, the tip of my heart. Believe. The more you know Hungarian language, the more you get into it, and the more it's fun and it's interesting. The deeper you go, really, I find so many interesting aspects of this language, because being not Indo-European and all the characteristics of it, and it is very flexible language, but on the same time it also can be also very precise. From some aspects, even more precise than Italian language, which is not so precise, and it's not flexible that much. There is a huge treasure of Hungarian literature. It should be read in Hungarian, but also in translation if you have the chance. Hungarian literature is not so known worldwide compared to German or Russian or French or British literature, but it's there are some authors which are totally worldwide level. As like all the others big that we might know. Mm, yeah, and also when you have friends, when you have local friends, also to learn the language and to compare for the speech, and so it's a different experience. It's fun. And I must say, I will not go in details into this, but an expression not so elegant, an elegant Hungarian expression which I've been knowing for years and using it for years with great fun. I found out just a couple of months ago that I understood this expression badly, I mean wrongly, or not as it should be. So you always learn and discover new aspects of this language.
You mean you picked up this phrase and you just kept using it?
I used it in a correct moment. The translation I made myself into Italian was slightly different than the real one.
As long as it's only different, that's fine. But when it comes to embarrassing, then it may cause inconvenience.
Not so that, yeah.
And it's a question to both of you, that what is the most challenging part of Hungarian language to you? Now, maybe you start now because you are in your second year of Hungarian, right? Yeah. So you are still in it.
Yeah, still like learning it completely. I would say, I think not challenging, but the one thing. So I know a few languages as well. So I think the one thing that kind of struck me the most about Hungarian was that what I've been told is that you can put the words in the same order, but like so you can have the answer to one question, but it's like it's more about what word you put more emphasis on. And so that kind of struck me, that there's no order to a sentence. You can literally say what you want. You can put the verb first, you can put the place first, anything. So that kind of struck me because none of the languages I've learned so far have had that. I would definitely say that was the one thing that was shocking and kind of like took a second to adjust. Otherwise, I think it's pretty fun, so yeah.
Oh, a perfect student. You say it's fun. Okay, for you?
I must say, I believe in Hungarian that the most difficult is the szókincs, is the words, the vocabulary. I think is the most difficult for people who come from different countries and maybe find help in knowing of English and using English of it. And with English, Italian, German, French, since it's the common root more or less, then normally you could help each other. But with Hungarian, or you know what that word means, or you don't. You hardly can guess the meaning of a word. While in English, French, could give also for medical words. It's totally from Latin English. You know English and it's the same as Latin.
It's the same as Latin.
But for Hungarian, I think this is the most difficult part. But when you I don't think in itself is such a weird, difficult language. I think it has a very strong inner logic. Just you should understand what is the logic of this language, which is different than Italian or other European languages, like Indo-European languages.
Thank you. Yeah, you mentioned word order, so syntax. As a linguist, I can tell that for most of our students, that's the most difficult part, just because how you mentioned, there are lots of varieties and possibilities, but there are differences in meaning. So, but now we have great books, great teachers, so it is just a matter of methodology, so how you are introduced to this difficult topic. Okay. Just going back to your travels and living in other countries, it's usually not really in the focus of the attention that what happens when you return home, when you go home, which is called the re-entry shock, because you spent a semester here, a year there, and then you just go home. So have you ever experienced this kind of feeling of re-entry shock?
I would say not really, but I think because of how chaotic my last year was, especially as a first-year medical student, when I went back, it was a shock to not be under stressed or to not have MTOs every week. That was kind of a little different to adjust to. But otherwise, so far, I've never had a re-entry shock, but I would suggest to everyone here as well, I talked to my family back home a lot. That was the one condition that I was sent on, is that I have to talk to my family every day, and I love talking to them. So it's to kind of stick to your roots, but also be open to experiencing new cultures. You can integrate both of them in a beautiful way. You just need to find your balance. So I think it's all about finding that balance. And once you get the hang of that, it kind of eases your transition, both when you go back home or when you come back here. It kind of eases your transition. So I would say it's just the process of finding that sweet spot, that balance of what really helps you adjust everywhere. And then that way you could avoid the re-entry shock. But otherwise, I think it was more so not because of culture, but more so because of my studies that I kind of felt the re-entry shock this year.
How about you?
For me, since I consider Hungary now my second home, I don't have any re-entry shock, or I have it in both ways actually, going back to Italy and going back to Hungary. So I must say, thanks to the job I have. For instance, in summer I'm not in Szeged. I have the chance to spend home a longer period, even a couple of months, which is excellent part of this job. So it's not a week, it's not a weekend I spend home, but a longer period. So just when I was getting used to be back at home, I have to come back here. For me, when from Hungary I go back to Italy, I don't know, one of the biggest re-entry shock, but about habits, that I was not used to that anymore. Guys, in Italy, my friends, when we meet in Saturday night or Friday night in Italy, my friends in Rome meet at 10:45, 11 p.m. It's normal in Italy, in Rome, in the south, it's normal in Saturday, which now, for me, after Hungarian timetable standard, it's too late to meet anybody at Saturday at 11. I was like, what? No, I mean, I very much enjoy, so this is a cultural shock. And I try to my friend, but come on, let's meet at 10. I mean, a little earlier, but then they say 10 and they arrive at 10:30. So but still, I try to bring the timetable a little earlier, because to me, the idea of going out of home at 11 p.m. now, it's like frightens me a little to go out. But so timing with the habits, that is a shock, and that was a shock for me. Yes, in general. Yes.
But then I can ask this in the other way around. So when you first came here in your 20s, then you wanted to go out partying at 11, and then were you surprised that people are not willing to because they would like to go earlier? Or it wasn't a problem at that time?
No, but yeah, in the beginning I was maybe more, in the first semester in Szeged, I was maybe more in an international environment with more like international timetable, so to say. So I don't remember ever having an issue with at what time is the Erasmus party. I don't remember when it was, but I guess at about 7 p.m., 8 p.m., which was totally, agreeable. On the other hand, I very much like the Hungarian way of meeting. That when you meet at 6, at 7 p.m., you can be together 4, 5, 6 hours and still go home at midnight, sleep normally, getting up 7. A normal timetable. Of course, in Italy, if you meet at 11, of course you go home at 3 a.m. I mean, you're not going by midnight if you meet, no? But when you meet earlier, it's fun. I like this part that you can still enjoy, be together with your friends, and have resting normal night. So I actually like more this Hungarian way of meeting than the Italian one, even though Italy is more famous for being a very sociable country. It is. But I would like them to meet a little earlier.
Thank you. How about in India or in the United States? So you can compare this Hungarian situation to other countries.
Yeah, and I would definitely say the first few months it took me a while because the grocery stores here closed at 8 and I did not know that. So that was a big shock. And in India, they're actually open until like 12 or 1 sometimes. Yeah, they're open, and there are stores that are open 24/7 as well. And same with States, like the grocery stores are open 24/7, especially the big ones, so you can get anything. I was actually used to doing shopping at like 2 a.m. because the entire store would be empty and it would just be very peaceful to just shop by myself. So when I first came here and I got to know that SPAR closes at 8, that was definitely not, I hadn't signed up for that. And I remember I went back home over the summer and I came back, and the first weekend I was here, I kind of forgot that again. And then on a Saturday I was like, oh my God, SPAR closes at 8, how could I forget this? And so yeah, I think that was definitely even the mall closes at like 8 or 9, which is again kind of shocking to me because everywhere else it closes at like later 10 or 12. So definitely that was the one that shocked me the most.
Are you okay with this now, or is it
Oh
still
yeah,
kind
I'm
of
completely
like
used to it. My classes start at 8 a.m. every day, so I don't even have the energy left until like 6 p.m. to do anything. So I'm used to it by now. But when I first came, that was definitely like, get everything together by like 6 p.m. because the stores close at 8 p.m. So I cannot do anything after that. So.
Yeah, so you have to plan ahead.
You have to plan ahead.
Food.
It kind of forced me to become a more organized person. So.
Now, what about this party time difference?
I would say, yeah, in India as well, you kind of meet very late, like 9:30, 10-ish, and then you don't go back home until like 4 or 5, and it's the same in States. And here it's also because like a lot of my local friends, we definitely meet earlier, like we meet at like 6 or 7 when they get off work. But with my international friends, we all have similar schedules, so we all are able to take out time after our classes or after studying at the TIC to go somewhere. So it kind of helps that we have a similar schedule. So yeah.
About like the lifestyle of the Hungarians, do you actually meet Hungarians or have you made friends with Hungarians? So you actually get access to real Szeged life?
Yeah, I would say I definitely try to push myself as much as I can. And when I knew that I was gonna be living in a country for like a few years, gonna be studying a program, and in my 4th year I know like we will be doing rotations in the different departments of the hospital. It kind of motivated me to know more about the culture, to know more about the people, and so I made a few local friends and they have been amazing to me. They also helped me learn the slang because of course, our Hungarian teacher can tell us slang, but not the bad kind of slang. So my Hungarian friends helped me with that. And just knowing the local drinks and just the local culture, they were very helpful with that. So that definitely also helped me.
So where can you actually meet Hungarians? Because that's a very frequent problem, that international students just get together in classes, they are isolated. And so they very often complain that they cannot get access to Hungarians. Hungarians are kind of closed, reserved, they are not very open. So where do you meet Hungarians?
For me, my first friend I think I met was at SPAR. And then a few other friends I actually made was in the waiting area of my anatomy exam room. They were Hungarian medical students as well, so that's how I got to meet them. And then when I went out with them, I met their Hungarian friends, so it was kind of like a chain process. Mm-hmm. So that's how I started. But again, it's definitely just like going out of your comfort zone, not being afraid. If someone seems approachable, definitely go and ask your doubts. That's how I made my first few Hungarian friends. And even in Budapest, that's how I met some of my friends. Not at SPAR, but that's how I met them. So, and again, with them, I met more Hungarian people every time I went out. So now I have a good amount of friends in Budapest as well, who are the locals, and they show me the local nightlife and the typical local restaurants. So definitely trying to push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone and not being afraid to take the first step, because even for them, even they have kind of like a language barrier as well. So it can be hard for them and they can be nervous as well. So we are all kind of in the same boat here. So yeah, don't be afraid.
Thank you. How about you? How did you find friends in Szeged?
Well, I have some international friends in Szeged, so we're not linked by Hungarian, and I have a couple of Hungarian friends that I met. One of them, these Hungarian friends, is my ex-landlord in my flat, because it was the first person of Szeged I met when I was looking back in the days for a flat for this experience. We became friends. He's a little older than me. But I mean, after that, long story, but it's not anymore my landlord, but we are still friends. I mean, it's even better, so there was never an issue mixing money and friendship. I mean, I was following the contract, and we were enjoying time together. He invites me to his place. Yeah, it's good to have Hungarian friends, and people are those who will show you these hidden places that you wouldn't, for local, that you wouldn't know, and it will be a pity just to miss them, or having a special experience, a very Hungarian experience. One of the things, even though I've been here for a while, I still haven't done. And on one hand, I would like to experience this very deep, real Hungarian experience, and on the other hand, I'm a little scared. Is the disnovágás, the killing of the pig, the killing, which is typical of Hungary. It's a moment. I haven't been there. On one hand, I'm curious. On the other hand, I believe it's a little too extreme for me, little Italian.
Are you vegetarian?
No. No, but I think it's too much. I don't know. I'm mixed feelings. I would like to see, to try, but on the other, maybe it's okay like that. And to such experiences, also, this is a very special, but also going to the football stadium with local people, or going to the spa, or going to the board festival or something. It is something that if you live it with the locals and you have access, it's a totally different experience. No, meaning, yes.
How did you get this idea of the pig slaughter? Did you watch the Witness movie, or?
There is the Witness movie, yes, one of the best Hungarian movies ever. Suggest you The Witness, very good, from the Magyar Narancs dolog, a kicsi sárga savanyú, de a miénk. Ez nagyon vicc.
It's a recommendation to watch the movie Witness.
It's very fun. Socialism humor.
Yeah, it's a very grotesque movie about communism. Have you seen that?
No,
not yet. Okay.
Not
maybe
yet.
tonight.
Maybe if I don't want to sleep, I guess I'll watch it.
Okay, talking about school a little bit, like the university classes, did you find them very different? So the teaching style and the way the material has been delivered and the way you are tested, is it difficult or different? Both?
But being as a teacher, so not as a student.
No, so please think back when you came first.
No, but as a student, yeah, I had to attend classes, but there was not an exam. There was not. I was quite free to attend or not and give the exam. I was never really tested in an Hungarian university. I mean, yeah, there was a couple of exams, but no major issues. As a teacher, what I could say comparing the Italian and Hungarian system, but maybe it's a long speech. I don't know. It's what I don't like in the Hungarian evaluation system of the notes. Me being as a teacher, I do believe there is some kind of some kind of a censorship on elégedetlenség, on insufficiency. So because since there are these 5 marks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 is not enough and 2 is from 2 up is okay. What it is missed, and I believe as an Italian student, as an Italian teacher, we have a totally different approach towards the student, is that me as a teacher, I have to give the same mark, 1, to those who never opened a book in their life, and to those who that day were mistaken, they took another guy from the other and they were just puzzled. So in Italy we have very different scales of not being adequate. So we have from 1 to 10, 1, 6, 1, 5 is not sufficient, and 6, 10 is more, and so on. And to me, in a pedagogical point of view, I do believe it's missing this approach to the student, that there are different situations, and sometimes also a insufficient mark can be a positive thing. So if I give you, In Italian system, I have the shades of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's a big difference between having a 5 and a 1 in the Italian school system, high
but
school.
But even you said 5 is still a fail.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you have a little bit failed, very much failed,
yes,
something like
exactly.
this, a grading
exactly.
of the...
Exactly,
okay.
Which in Hungary, as a teacher, I feel is missing, because a 1 doesn't tell you anything about the commitment of the student. It's a pity, because also from the pedagogical point of view, also the insufficient could be a positive step taken towards. Not everybody has to be bad, there are different situations. So for me, this evaluation system, which is also in Germany, is the same, just reversa, but it's 5 to 1. It's also the same logic, and to me is lacking of that part of what you don't see. It's good for what you see, for the excellence, but it's lacking for the other part, what you don't see.
Nash, what about you, about teaching style?
Yeah, I would agree with Lorenzo. Back home in India and back in States as well, we kind of had like a more flexible system. No matter how you answer, you don't end up getting like the same fail. There's more flexibility. There's like you completely failed, or you were able to answer a couple of questions, or more questions but not adequate enough to pass. So there was definitely a more range of scores. But I think the biggest difference that I have experienced is the oral exams. I've never ever had to take oral exams my entire life. Not in India, not in States. In my different studying degrees, I've never had to take oral exams. So that was very shocking to me, because it was kind of new. It was very new to me, and just going there and talking about science, talking about anatomy, that kind of, it's not even like giving like a speech or something, or it's talking to a teacher, explaining to them. And I've just been so used to writing exams that I guess it never really occurred to me how I would perform in an oral exam. So that was definitely like a big change for me, and one of the shocking things of the Hungarian education system. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear actually, because it still remains an important part of testing. However, as I can see a tendency of the number of oral exams are reduced now. So because of reliability, teachers are rather appreciate and students the test because it's there, it's a written proof. So, but yeah, it's something still here.
Yeah.
It's fun what you say, because for me in Italian university, basically all the exams are oral exams, so it will be totally different from you as well, even more than in Hungary, way more than in Hungary.
So I think our time is slowly up, so now I would like to invite the audience to ask any questions. If you find something fascinating, just we would be happy to answer.
Do you know any place here?
John Bull?
Yeah, you can't find a perfect setting for that. Where?
John Bull in the city center.
Okay.
Belváros.
The John Bull pub.
John Bull.
Okay.
For me, I have like a similar situation. It's just that I don't eat beef. So for me, finding goulash that is not made from beef, it's not even traditional beef. It will never be traditional goulash. But I wanted to like find like a chicken or pork or vegetarian alternative. But I've been having a hard time finding. I know it's funny, but I don't eat beef, and I really wanted to try goulash, considering it's so famous. So yeah, I have that issue too.
As a Hungarian, I can tell you that it's an issue for our international students. So sometimes we organize a cooking event and we show them how to make it. And so after that, you can buy any type of meat you like, or even vegetarian, which is funny because goulash is the major constituent. Component is meat. But yeah, you can use the turkey, some, or many other types of meat.
And the cooking of goulash together on the fireplace, the goulash pograj, it's a very, very nice experience. What you would be in US will be, I don't know, grilling together, and in Hungary you do goulash together on the fireplace. It's very typical, very nice hours spent together in the garden. This is one of the best part of Hungarian culture, I must say. It is also getting together. I mean, to me, what I very much like is also in Hungary there is an attention towards quality of food, good together, and of being together in a good mood with some palinka. And so maybe too much, but it's a personal decision. But I do like very much this. I see that, to me, really Hungarian culture and Italian culture in general have much in common of being together and being. There is this attention towards gastronomy that is special, because in this area of Europe, I do believe that in Hungary there is a very big variety of recipes and possibilities for food. There is a huge soup culture in Hungarian gastronomy, which is they have so many, which is something that brings people together, eating together. Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions? Be brave. If there's no more, I have a makeup question. It's actually a request to you. Can you recommend one or two places you like in Szeged as a recommendation for the others, for the audience to visit?
If you like watching football, you can always go to John Bull. They always have the football matches on. I like to usually, after a busy day of classes, sometimes my friends and I, we will get fast food or any kind of food, and we'll go and sit near Tiza and we'll eat and just chill and hang out there. Or if it's been a super busy day and we want to lighten up a bit, we go to either Corso, Campus, Nyugi, all these places. But I think it's more about the company than about the place. So
I would say for sure for relax, and so Anna Fürde, the spa in Szeged, one of the best, and I very much like this. There is a possibility during the night to go bathing in the spa, so after 9 p.m. till midnight or 1 a.m. and it's very good after a day of work. It's very cheap. Also connected with water, I very much like this, because to me I was amazed sometimes by the quality of the sporting facilities that you can find in Hungary. It's really respectful, because in Italy we don't have that good, if I must say. The Sportcsarnok is not bad, but the Tiszavirág swimming pool, it's marvelous. If you like to go to swim, it looks like being in Germany. And one of the, not place, but it's a moment in the year that is favorable and favorite is the wine festival of Szeged, the Bor Festival Híres, the famous wine festival in Szeged. It's really unique. For 10 days brings people together, and which is important to say for you foreigners. I was an Erasmus exchange student in Germany, and especially in Munich, famous from between the many for the Oktoberfest. So these 3 weeks of beer and drinking and partying together, which every year, besides COVID, but every year takes place in Munich, and it's a common gathering moment. Now the same, but way cheaper, and from some point of view even better, because the Oktoberfest now is just advertisement, it's just business. The Bor Festival in Szeged, I have many foreign friends who spent a semester or two in Szeged, got the chance to leave the Bor Festival and come back to Szeged to meet all together in the wine festival, because it's a fixed moment in the year that between those 10 days in May there will be Bor Festival, and it's a really, really best moment, I think, to come back to the city, visit again, and enjoy. So, and it's every year, it's very special, the biggest wine festival of Hungary. I also like that in Hungary there is a wine culture beside the beer culture and the palinka culture, which is not common. I mean, in Germany you have wine now every day, even more, but most of all it's a beer culture. In Czech Republic, beer culture. But in Hungary you have, as I said, a variety and a fantasy of gastronomy and drinking and being together that you only find here, not in the neighboring countries or close countries. So wine festival is also one of my favorite places, moment in Szeged.
Thank you. So thank you for being here and sharing your experiences, and thank you for the questions as well. We hope that you got a few ideas and inspiration, and please register the website uniszegedalumni.com. There's also a kind of like Facebook chat, so there's a chat part of that website. You can form groups. This is especially for international students, so you can make friends, but we encourage you to make friends with Hungarians because they could help you and show you the secret parts of Szeged. And finally, I'd like to recommend those little bits of papers on the table, so stay here if you can and answer the questions or discuss the questions and enjoy each other's company. So thank you for coming, and we wish you a pleasant further stay in Szeged.